What is up, everybody? It is your guy, Tyler, here at Mom's Basement MMA, and I have a freaking awesome guest with us today, Mr. Josh Augustine. Sir, how are you doing today?
Good, good. How are you doing, sir?
I am doing fantastic. For those of you guys who don't know, Josh actually is the first champ I've ever had on the show. You're the first champion. So,
Hell yeah.
Josh is a fighter from St. Louis, Missouri, and he is the 145-pound Nemesis Fighting Alliance champion. So, champ man, welcome to the show. And I know that you've had a lot of things going on with you since your last bout. So why don't you catch us up on just kind of what you've been up to the past year?
Just injury prevention. Honestly, I caught the injury bug after the fight. So obviously I broke my leg during that fight and Titan. And then after that, about 5 months to the day, I was already back sparring, feeling good, smashing people up, and I ended up getting hit with a calf kick by a training partner, and we went right after it. And I was down for a couple months after that. I ended up catching a staph infection that kept me out for a little bit. Then I caught COVID. Then I ended up injuring my hip after that, and I had to get surgery. And that was exactly 9 weeks ago. And now I'm 3 weeks till cleared by the doctors. But already back training.
You've been hurt and sick since your last fight.
Pretty much the whole past year has been pretty down for me.
Damn, man. So I watched your last fight, the Titan fight, or at least like a snippet of it. And did you break your leg in that fight?
Yeah, that's the fight that I broke my leg in. Yeah, so I ended up losing via calf kicks, and that it actually broke that outside bone. See, I didn't get the drop foot like you see, like Mike Chandler and Henry Cejudo had. It actually broke that outside bone, that fibula.
I thought it was just like a freak kind of injury, honestly. I'm sure you've been kicked a billion times, and it was just
100%. 100%. But it was also the way I was fighting as well, because I am generally a little more elusive and counter. And, I catch people coming in, and I was really chasing the knockout because of the moment and everything that was at stake. And my situation going on in life, I had too many things on the outside that were leading in to the inside of the cage, and that it just ends in a bad result 9 out of 10 times usually. So, it was a big learning experience for me. Now I feel like I'm a real legit pro, and I know that I belong with the best guys, and I feel more dangerous than ever now.
Well, you certainly look more like a dangerous, scary dude. Like right now, you're super chill, and I definitely have a couple beers with you. But like when you're in the cage, man, you're totally different. One of the things I did a fight breakdown. So if you guys are checking this out, please make sure that you check out that fight breakdown that we did of Josh. They'll give you, if you've never seen him fight before, they'll give you a much better appreciation and understanding of just how insanely talented he is. And I wanted to ask you, you've never lost in Nemesis. You've buzzed through every single person they put in front of you in Nemesis. So how did the whole Titan FC fight, how did that even materialize? Did they just call up your gym and ask you if you were interested, or how did that work?
I had recently signed with Michael Johnson in the UFC. He started up his own branch, his own little management company with Chad Skelly. And I wasn't getting any fights brought to the table by them, and the COVID was going on. I had a lot of stuff going on in my personal life. I just had a kid, and I was basically homeless like a month before that, and I was seeing the vacuum for people that they needed for the UFC to fill spots for the ESPN deal. So I knew that I was in a position to make a run, even with my record only being 4-1 at the time. And especially with a win over a guy like Muhammad, they told me I would have had his spot on the Contender Series had I won. So, my buddy Justin Bricker, my manager now, and he was my manager at the beginning of my career, he found the fight, I think, just through social media, that Mohammed's guy had dropped out, and it was like 4 days before the fight. So I was looking for fights. I was in talks with fighting Jacob Thrall in LFA like 2 weeks before that, and that didn't come to fruition. And then we were talking about a fight with Ben Lugo and Nathan Levy in LFA the next week, and those two ended up fighting. So all those fights were falling through. And so I came into the gym on Monday, to stay ready, and not thinking anything was going to come up that week, knowing LFA was taking a little break. And I, heard the fight about that Thursday was going to be, for Muhammad, that fight was going to be open. So that was going to be a big, I knew it would be a big opportunity. I didn't know that it would be Contender Series at the time. I said, fuck it. Book me. I'm going to go out there, take care of business. I watched his tapes, a couple of times as soon as I got word, checked my weight. It was all good. And so I took the fight. We went out there. It was super fast experience, and being at the Intercontinental and being, around all these world-class guys, all the dudes in the UFC, it was definitely, I was like cutting weight with Julian Lane and shit. And it was just another huge learning experience for me. But there's no excuses. He fought the fight that he needed to fight to win that night.
I am, so you and I were chatting a little bit, and, when we weren't recording, and yesterday I was talking to you about that, and either you said it or I said it. I don't remember who, but it doesn't matter because I'm pretty sure we both agree with it. That's a fight that I think you win 10 out of 10 times. And I'm not just saying that.
Yeah.
I did watch a couple of his bouts before, and I think he's very good. I don't think he's a scrub. I think he's very good and very talented. But I don't know. I watch you fight, man, and you're just kind of at a different level. And I really like the fact that you're such a big dude for your weight class. And I kind of wanted to ask you, is making 145, is that difficult for you? Like, what do you normally walk around at?
Right now I'm probably about 175, but so it's a super tough weight cut, but it takes time. And if I'm zoned in on my diet, my body will shred the weight pretty easy. I have it pretty in tune. I have a really great nutritionist and strength conditioning coach, Jesse Conaway. And, we got it pretty much down to a science. It takes me about 10 days to make weight.
That is fantastic. And like the longer you can, I hope you're at a point where you can stay at 45, because nobody fights guys that are 6'1" at 145, except that guy that looks like
I love that reach advantage.
Whatever his name is, I forget. It's crazy. Yeah, you know who I'm talking about though. Abraham Lincoln.
Zabit.
Yeah,
he can't box though. He can jump kick everybody, and he uses his range real well, but he can't punch.
I love your fighting style. I love your kicks, and I wanted to ask you, did you wrestle like in high school, or like were you a karate dude? Like, how did you get into mixed martial arts to begin with?
I just stumbled into a gym, honestly. So I was always a decent athlete growing up. My cousins, I had several cousins that were like Division I, Division II, like traditional American sport, scholarship athletes, collegiate athletes, and they were all like bigger, stronger, faster than me. So I never really did my athleticism, but looking back, I was a pretty good athlete at superstar. And so I just happened to stroll into a little MMA gym called MMA whenever I had just turned 15, and he was an old sambo guy. So he taught me, everything from footlocks, triangles, guillotines, you know, to just simple combinations, punch kick combinations. So right from the first day, I learned jiu-jitsu and kickboxing. So I'm one of like those, you know, like new breed guys, if you will.
That's awesome. And so what kind of you made your Annie debut back in like 2012. So like at what point do you make that transition from being like, you know, this baller kid that is, you know, training, sparring with people, like what clicked that made you say like, yeah, I want to like actually compete?
So about a year after I stumbled into that gym, Domain MMA, my gym owner merged with St. Charles MMA. And so we had, you know, Mike had Tyron Woodley in the gym. He's the guy who brought Tyron and got him started doing MMA. And so my first day in there, Lance Benoist actually got signed to the UFC like literally the night before. So he was just announcing his first fight contract was in like 10 days. So, you know, Josh Sampo, Alp Ozkilch, Matt Ricehouse, EJ Brooks, like all these guys were undefeated up and coming fighters in Bellator, Strikeforce, about to be UFC. And that's whenever I was like 17 years old. And I got lucky enough to just be training with these guys, you know? And so I always just had high hopes for myself. I was just like, oh, well, I'm training with these guys. I'm going to be in the UFC. Like, that's just the way it's going to be. And that was just kind of it was an ignorant mindset at the time. I didn't even know what it took, but I just thought that I would be. And so, you know, seeing those guys, I was like, all right, I'll just go out there and fight and I'll just beat the shit out of some kids and I'll be undefeated. I'll be in the UFC. And then my first fight, though, I ended up losing. And then it put me on the path of being an actual really good fighter.
I was talking to a guy that's on the regional scene like you in like the Atlanta area. And he was telling me, he was just like, what I tell amateur fighters is take the toughest fights that you can get, fight the hardest guys, because guess what? Like none of that shit matters. Like your AME career, like no one cares. Everything resets when you hit pro. So take the toughest fights that you can absolutely get. And when I look back at your career, I see that it's kind of interesting. You make your debut in, well, at least according to Tapology. So whatever I'm about to say, it may not be 100% accurate, but Tapology said 2012. When was your first fight?
My first kickboxing fight was 2010.
Okay.
And then I had some amateur boxing and kickboxing matches and stuff, jiu-jitsu tournaments, shit like that. And then my first amateur MMA fight was 2012.
Okay, so you make your first AMI fight, your first AMI MMA fight in 2012, and Tapology said that you had two fights in relative. It was only a few months in between fights, 2 wins, and then there's like a 4-year gap where you don't fight again, and then like you fight one more time in 2016, and then you make your debut in like 19. So like those are a lot of holes and a lot of years that are missing. So what is either inaccurate with that information or what was going on with you?
There's a little bit of inaccuracy. So in the 4-year gap is it from 2012 to 2016?
Yes.
Oh yeah, that's definitely inaccurate. I don't even remember. There's some fights in there, some amateur kickboxing and boxing fights. But there is a little span of time where I had a fracture in my back that I took off about a year. But I was training, and fighting most of that time.
I was like, what the hell happened? Like, did like you go into the army or some shit? Like what?
No. I'd have to go through some Facebook posts and I don't know, posters and all this other shit. I don't know, exactly how many fights and when and where and stuff. But I know I had like 9 amateur boxing matches and like 8 amateur kickboxing matches, and I think I ended up having like 7 amateur MMA fights. So I was definitely active throughout those years for sure. But then, right before my pro debut, I was suspended for like 6 months from Arkansas because they just didn't like me down there because I was just being myself, and they were getting all mad and shit. And then their boy,
Were you talking shit?
well, so the weigh-ins were at this little bar, and this dude, you know, I was actually really nervous because I hadn't fought, I think, in like a year or something. So that was like one of those breaks. So I was just feeling nervous because I knew I was trying to make a run, you know, my pro career, but I needed to have this amateur fight, and I knew I needed to make you know, I needed to do something well. I needed to do it right. And, you know, I just put pressure on myself. So this dude, I was actually going to shake his hand. He went and put his face on my face. So there's like this clip of me pushing him, and I launch him, and there's like a chair behind him. I like pushed him into it, so he like falls over the chair. It looks like he just like flies off the stage, but he really didn't. It wasn't even that bad. The video looks worse because it's zoomed in, honestly. And so, you know, there was a whole thing afterwards. Everyone was all yelling and shit, and I was fired up after that. And so we were yelling at each other across the bar during the weigh-in. So we, you know, I had to leave. And then I whooped his ass real bad, and he didn't come out in between rounds. And then I started yelling to the crowd, you know, like, I'm the fucking best, blah, 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 this, that, and the other. And the commissioner jumped up on the ring and started yelling at me. So I said, stop trying to steal my moment. So he tried to get me suspended for a year, but he only got me suspended for 6 months. And then I came out guns a-blazing. It was good, though, because I just trained that whole time, like knowing that my pro debut, you know, we had planned it out with Nemesis. That they've been great with me in my career. They've worked with me in my whole pro career, so it's been nice. You know, I sell tickets.
I gotta say, that's pretty baller that you Jeremy Stevens some guy.
I didn't mean to, though. It was honestly on him.
What do they say? Stupid games, stupid prizes.
That's what I'm saying, man. Why'd you just put your face on my face? So we could have just stood there normal. You could have even just looked at me real tough, but like, you had to touch me. Like, what did you expect to happen?
I don't understand. Like, so here's like my thought on all that, and tell me if you agree or disagree. I'm of the opinion that if you have to put hands on a guy, like when you're doing like a face-off or whatever, that to me says that you did a shit job promoting your fight. Like, you had a whole bunch of opportunities to get out there and do what you needed to do to hype up your fight, and you didn't. And now at the very last minute, you're trying to, you know, stir some shit up because like you didn't do your job. That's how I view it. 100%. Is that too harsh, or do you think I'm right?
No, I agree with you, but it does get emotional. Like, I mean, I get guys at the highest level doing that, and yeah, that's true for sure. But like, even like, you know, for regional shows, like, why are you even doing that? Like, no one's even watching you either way. Like, your friends and family and the other guy's friends and family and people that are in the scene are going to watch it. And that's about it. And I get trying to like get in the mental warfare stuff, and I'm always trying to get tough on the other guy and shit too. But like, I don't know. It's just, there's a line. Like, if you touch me, I'm probably going to try to bitch slap you, and like, you're not going to touch me after that.
I can't say I'd react differently. I mean, if I were like trying to like, obviously I'm not a fighter, but if I were to like put myself in your type of position, and some guy's getting all touchy feely with me at a fucking face off or whatever, I think I'd.
Yeah, it's weird. Yeah, it's weird. We're fighting tomorrow.
It's like, yeah, dude. Like, let's handle our business tomorrow. Like,
you know what I'm saying? Like, we're especially, well, now as pros, it's like we're getting paid to do the weigh-in and shit, right? Like, that's today.
Right, exactly.
It's silly.
It kind of is, and like, when I think about like the UFC, like, obviously I'm a big, like, as a fan, it's fantastic. It truly is. I mean, they put up some epic fights. I'm a fan. But sometimes, man, I could do without the soap opera, and that's kind of why like PFL is like so enticing to me, because it's all outcome and performance based. It's no bullshit. There's no politics. There's no real ranking system. If you want to advance, you have to win. So when we talk about like PFLs, that everyone talks about going into the UFC, and I understand why. I get it. Like, that's where the best. I think most people would agree the best of the best fight in the UFC, pretty much.
No, I don't want to be in the UFC anymore, man. I used to want to be in the UFC so bad, man. Fuck them. I don't want to be there.
So where do you want to be one day?
I want to be the Bellator champion, and I think that I can be the Bellator champion in a pretty short amount of time. I think 2.5 years I can be the Bellator champion.
So if PFL called you up and were like, "Hey, do you want to like?" Because I'm pretty. They don't have 35s, but I'm pretty sure they have 45s. Would you?
Yeah, I would do PFL. It's a real tough division, though, honestly. I mean, I would have to really. They're gonna have to pay me for those in between fights too. Like, yeah, it's $1 million prize, but beating Bubba Jenkins and Lance Palmer and Alex Gilpin and those guys, and that's beating top level guys. You're gonna have to pay me like a top level guy, and I think Bellator really does a great job of building people. I think I can beat a guy like Aaron Pico, Daniel Weichel, or like Emmanuel Sanchez. I can beat a guy like that right now. They build me up, give me the right fights, and give me time, and I can smoke a guy. Like, especially my body style and like my fight style, I can smoke a guy like Pitbull or McKee. Just being active a little bit, I think.
I am of the opinion that when you get, like, you're the type of fighter, like, when people fight, they're like, I have not fought a guy like this before. Like, this guy is huge. Sure. Like you're a tough dude to, like, have to prepare for. So, like, me, I'm, like, 5'9". So, like, I would have to, like, if I were a fighter, like, obviously, like, I'm, like, super fat and shit right now. But, like, if I were a fighter, like, I would imagine I would have to be at 5'9". Probably 45 is probably 45 or 55, I would imagine. It's probably, like, the heaviest I could ever go. And so I would imagine, like, a lot of 45ers, they probably are like my size, 5'9" or whatever, maybe a little bit smaller. But and then it's like, Jesus Christ, like, then you come in the cage and it's just like, holy fuck, like I gotta fight this guy. Like, you're a tough guy to have to fight against. And my question, Josh, is like, is it hard to get guys to fight you?
Yeah, that's what was going on during COVID. We were just trying to find the right matchups. And then, it's hard to get like those building matchups a lot of times because people aren't really trying to get their lives, completely changed. So,
yeah, like that guy that you kicked in the liver, that poor bastard.
Yeah. Colton's a good dude. He's a good up and coming fighter, but there is levels to it. He could probably fight at 25 or 30. He could fight at 35 for sure. He could maybe make 25, so he should probably go that route. I would if I were him, and but a guy like there's a lot of them. I mean, there's a lot of my past fights where I'm just able to keep the range on people. It's really what I enjoy to do.
That poor dude was probably pissing blood for a month. Like, that was nasty. And, like, have you ever, like, watched something on TV or something like that and you're like, oh, Jesus Christ, like that, like somebody wiping out or doing something stupid like Jackass?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I love that.
Okay, like, I was watching, when I was doing the breakdown of your fight, like, when I saw it the first time, I was just like, oh, Jesus Christ. Like it was like one of those moments where, like, sometimes when you watch a fight, like, there's like a huge moment, like the Masvidal kneeing, Ben Askren or whatever. I mean, like, sometimes there are these like epic shots that happen, and like when you hit that guy, I knew right away. I was like, his organs are shutting down. Like,
it was a home run for sure. It was a straight home run. Well, I was setting up a head kick, so honestly, I was just putting it out there. I was just doing one of my setups. I have I have ways where I set shit up on like 2, 3, 4 piece things, and like I just put something out there. It just stuck right under the elbow. He did. It's really like me and my training partners, like the McCormick brothers and Angel Rodriguez, my new boxing coach. We talk about all the time. Like, if you don't have that proper defense, it's just the byproduct will be they just go to sleep, or they just, it just catches the liver and it looks devastating. But really, if he would have had his elbow down and his hand in place to catch or even just a block, it just would have been a setup, honestly.
I'm always curious to ask. So when I watch it, I'm just like, I see it with my eyes and I see and hear the impact of the kick. But like when I ask fighters, like, hey, how hard did you hit that guy? Oftentimes I'm surprised and they're like, dude, I didn't even really hit him that hard. Did you hit them hard? Like were you like hitting him as hard as you could? Or is it like 40% or something like that.
I don't really hit like that. I shoot for like 100% clean technique, and I'm movement based, and I try to be as clean as possible. So I don't really swing for the fences or anything like that. But that was a clean shot. Like my pro fight where I knocked the guy out in 30 seconds, I hit him with the right hand. That was just kind of like I just stuck it out there, and it just like barely touched him. And he wobbled over, and I was like, oh shit, like, oh, that really cracked him, you know. But that one was that body shot was very clean. That was heavy. That was a baseball bat to the body for sure.
It sounded like one, and it was probably one of those moments where everyone in the crowd's like, "Ooh!" Like,
yeah, it was like, pretty awesome. It was magical for real.
I mean, I think you're going to see more of that, like when you go to the next level, like especially at 45. For you, it's like to fight against you. If I hang back and let you be the aggressor, like I'm totally fucked. If because you're just gonna pick me apart. Like, well, I think you're fucked no matter what. But you know what I'm trying to say. Like, I would try 100%. To close the gap. I would try to close the distance on you, and hopefully I'm a good wrestler or have good jiu-jitsu. But like standing up with you is just a bad idea.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, you have to be pretty high level to stand up with me. And I mean, that's why I was actually really impressed with him, and that he actually had counters and stuff for me at that time. But the cool thing about that is it put me in connection with my current boxing coach, Angel Rodriguez, and he's just got my hands on a whole nother level now. And that's why I'm really excited to compete again, because, man, working with him, he had 75 amateur boxing matches in Puerto Rico before he was 15 years old. Man, this dude is going to be a household name in the sport. He's a phenomenal striking coach, and I'm just grateful to have him at the gym, and you know, and him just being open to working with me and hearing me out. And we have such a cool relationship. I love that guy. He's such a cool dude. And these next up and coming finishes are going to be absolutely devastating. I mean, that's just me thinking like analytically, not, that's not even me for my ego. Like, I just know my hands are getting so clean. If you mix that in with my movement and just like setting people up with my kicks, if they don't just like quit from the kicks like they have before, my hands are going to be fucking people up. That's why I say, like, I fight a guy like Aaron Pico, like a dude who will like put his head out there first, and I'm going to fucking sleep him in about.
Can we talk about your jiu-jitsu and ground game? So like, obviously most people will see a guy like you, right? Like this fucking killer on the feet, and then so obviously the game plan then transitions into, well, if I can, I'm going to try to clinch him or get him down to the ground and like do jiu-jitsu, whatever. And I would imagine that's probably the game plan for a lot of people, that, or at least like that's what they plan on doing. Now, whether they actually do it or not is a totally different story. But can you talk a little bit about like your ground game, because that was something that definitely stood out when I watched you. You shot for a takedown. Like, you're not afraid to like shoot for takedowns and to like ground and pound guys.
I mean, actually, I just feel like I have a really well-rounded game. I just focus my style based around killing people, really. I just like seeing them stand up and stuff. Yeah, I like striking a lot. And my body style just fits it as well, just being elusive. It just kind of happens a lot of times. But yeah, I work with Sammy Henson. He is a silver medalist wrestling coach. I work with his kids all the time, Jackson, Cowboy, and Dash as well. He's committed to Iowa next year, Dash is, and those guys are savages. And for our jiu-jitsu program, I mean, we have at St. Charles, we have a bunch of guys that have competed at the world and pan level. Kirk Huff. I mean, we're connected to the Pedigo submission fighting team. I don't know if you're familiar with them. Those guys are, they're blowing up in the jiu-jitsu community. They're just this little gym in the middle of Illinois, and they got a bunch of guys that are, like the high, like winning everything at every level: black belt, brown belt, purple belt.
Well, hey, iron sharpens iron, man. So I'm happy to hear that you're training with these absolute savages, because it's one of those things where it's like, if I'm thinking it, someone else is thinking it. Like, somebody who obviously is a professional is like, hey, we're not standing up with this guy. We're taking him down to the ground. And, it's just one of those things where, I'm not going to name names or whatever, but even at the highest levels, like, you see these strikers, and like they're, you know, in cruise control when things are on their feet, and then, you know, if things go south and they find themselves on their back or something like that, they're totally screwed. Like they have nothing. They have nothing to offer.
Yeah, I mean, that's where the Ty Clark fight came in. You know, that was a huge learning experience for me where I was pretty much just laid on my back for like 12 out of 15 minutes where he was just taking me down. And I was just worried about getting destroyed with just elbows and punches and shit. And I really should have just been more aggressive with my jiu-jitsu and using it to stand up.
Mm-hmm.
And I was thinking about like what I do to people on top, you know, instead of just like going and feeling and being in the moment. Like I am every day in practice, just popping up to my feet and getting up. Like that's like something that I do super, super well. Like even at the time of that fight, you know, it's not like a skill that I was lagging at the time. It was like literally that I did not do it that night.
Right.
Just out of like the moment and just being scared to get, you know, fucked up. But now I've been fucked up all right. So, you know, I'm not worried about a damn thing. That's another reason why I'm really excited about, you know, these next few fights. You know, I don't give a fuck about any damage, any of that shit. Obviously, I'm not trying to get touched or anything, but it's really about, you know, becoming the world champion. I'm going to do anything at all costs.
So, Josh, like, what's next for you? Like, do you have? So obviously, like, you're rehabbing through some things. You know, still recouping from the medical issues and whatnot, and getting your body right. Do you have a timetable in mind for when you want to go back?
Yes. I am supposed to be cleared by the doctor on August 12th. Okay. After that, I would like about 8 weeks to get prepared. And I could do a tune-up fight in October, November.
With Nemesis?
Maybe if they give me the right fight, or, you know, that's why I'm just open to all options. They're really cool. They'll give me fights and they don't care if I go fight other places. So it's cool. Shamrock here in St. Louis gave me a pretty good offer against a guy. I can't say any names, but in person, I was told about a title shot. And that would make me basically the king of St. Louis. You know, that's the two big promotions here. So, it's a guy that is from St. Louis that trains in Florida. You know, we know each other. It'd be a little weird, but I think I'm head and shoulders better than him, and like skill set wise. So
is it fair to say that you want a tune-up fight, and then are you thinking like maybe go back to LFA or Cage Fury or something like that, or is your hope like one more tune-up fight? If it's the right tune-up fight, then maybe I could throw my hat in the ring and get into like Bellator or something like that.
I'm not thinking too much about it. I want to be active. I mean, like if it goes perfect in my mind, I go out about November, October, like let's say late October. I go out and I starch some fucking can. Let's be honest, I knock some dude out in about 12 seconds, and then I fight.
How about Mr. Tyler Little? He wants to fight you, man.
I fight Tyler Little October 31st, and then you make your pro debut for me. We'll get you a title shot for Nemesis.
Yeah, dude, I'll like Dada 5000 myself.
Hell yeah. We'll shoot it out all over YouTube. We'll sell a bunch of tickets and make all of them.
Yeah, man. Like, you know, I'll show up. I'll get in the cage, and, you know, like 2 seconds into the fight, I'll already be gasping for air, like tired and shit. And, you know, and then, you know, we'll have to make it a fight though, you know, because people pay good money for that. So you can't knock me out right away. You have to, like, you know.
I'll let you get a couple shots in at first.
Yeah, like, you know.
So look, we'll do that. We'll do that. And then December 5th is when I was told about that other fight. I do 5 rounds against Fighter X that I was just talking about. I'll beat his ass real bad, and that would put me at 6-2. I feel like, and then that puts me at Shamrock and Nemesis champ. That's a pretty good position. So, you know, I've been getting a bunch of AJ Cunningham has been wanting to fight me. You know AJ Cunningham? That fucking dumb bum from that stupid hillbilly from Arkansas or whatever the fuck. He doesn't know that I'm the best motherfucker in the Midwest. He thinks he could fucking beat me or something. He's been wanting to fight me since I've been 2-0, and just shit hasn't lined up. But yeah, I
Well,
feel like that'd be a good time to do that. And he's got an LFA contract. That'd be a good segue to Bellator, I feel like.
I agree. Why don't we make that happen? Mike Kendall, make that shit happen.
AJ
Done.
Cunningham would get fucked up. His boxing fucking sucks.
I'll hit up Mike Kendall and be like, yo, Mike, voice of the Octagon, man, make that shit happen, yo. He will.
That'd be tight. I love Mike. He's cool. He just followed me on Instagram yesterday, actually, but I've been known him for a while. You saw him on Nemesis.
I'm going to have him on my show. I told him.
He's awesome.
Like, bro, you need to be on my show. And he just seems like a super freaking cool guy.
Yeah, I haven't got to kick it with him. I only got to, talk to him at the show. But yeah, he's been pretty cool every time I talk to him.
That's fucking tight. So before I let you go, Josh, I wanted to ask you a little bit. We talked about Bellator. And, like, what is your goal? Like, you're thinking, like, 24 months from now, that's where you want to be?
I would like to be signed to Bellator by, like, a year from now. No later than a year from now. I want to be signed to Bellator on contract in a year from now. And then another year from then, I don't see why I can't be in the top 5 or shooting for a title at that point.
Man, I want to see that. I really want you to have that chance to get to that next level because I think you can offer something that a lot of people haven't seen before, which is a guy that's your size but is quick and knows how to throw hands and kicks, man. Like I said, you remind me of Cerrone a lot. I see that and I'm just like, Jesus Christ. Like, did you know you guys are almost like virtually identical in terms of like
I know.
reach?
Yeah. I think I have like 1 inch longer reach, but yeah, we're like same height.
You're like I think you're the same height, and then like you have an inch on him for like reach, but like for all intents and purposes, like you guys are like identical, like stature wise. I saw you in there. I'm like, dude, like this guy is like just like copy a new face and put it on Donald Cerrone's body, and it's this guy. Then when you're throwing all these kicks and shit, dude, when you're throwing all those kicks and shit, I was just like, oh, this is perfect. This is fucking fantastic.
I love it. That's an awesome comparison.
Play time on the shins, man. Make that happen. Yeah. We gotta work on it. And I don't know what he's got going on. He's got some weird tribal dog shit or whatever on his back. I don't know what that is.
Yeah, he's getting old. He's a little beat up.
He is, and I think he probably needs to figure something else out with his life, man. I love Donald, I do, but it's probably time.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, I would like for the people that I'm surrounded by to be able to tell me, but I don't know if anyone's going to be able to tell me when it's time to stop either. That's the scary part of it.
It is. Well, Josh, you are quite the gentleman, man. You are such a talent, and I really enjoyed having you on the show, and we definitely need to do it again, man. Like, I need to have you back on here after you have some hardware and you got some straps, and let's talk about you blowing up Bellator and making a name for yourself there, because it's a matter of time, man. You have all the talent in the world, and like I see it, man. I see it. Like, I see these guys that you're fighting, and then I see you, and that's like a sign that somebody's got a future. Like, when you see a big gap like that, it's like, wow, like, okay, like this guy.
Thank you, Tyler. That means a lot to me, man. That really does. I mean, because I feel like I'm the only one seeing it, and I don't know if I'm blind or what the fuck's going on. But yeah, there's a few people that do point that out to me as well, and it's just reassuring. It's nice. It's nice to hear.
You are an amazing guy and a really entertaining fighter, and I want to see more of you. So everyone, please follow my guy, Josh Augustine, on Instagram. And Josh, are there any other like shout outs? Did you want to talk about your gym or any other sponsors before we go?
Yeah, St. Charles MMA. Follow Hand Wraps. Rolling Papers on Instagram. Follow Stacking Bricks on Instagram. Follow J_Augie145 on Instagram. And hopefully I'll be back on the show before my next fight or after my next fight when we're promoting the next one.
Yeah, we'll hook that up, man. Because my shit's way better than Calf Kick Sports. Fuck you, Ash. And fuck you, Tim. I'm just kidding. They're fucking awesome. We're boys. I can say that, right?
No, yeah, you guys are all awesome.
Oh, dude, they're actually super super friendly and super
Oh, and
nice.
you
So.
guys, anyone who's watching this has to check out the Fighter Breakdown. It doesn't have a ton of views yet, but that shit is badass. You did such a killer job with that, man. That is
Oh, thank
fucking
you,
great.
man. Thank you.
No, thank
Yeah,
you.
I just hope the Instagram police don't take that shit down. They took one of mine down, but I think I was being a
Why?
dumbass. And well, I think I was being a dumbass though, and I accidentally tagged the promo in the video, and
Mm,
then they saw that shit and they're just like, "Oh, fuck you." Brr. But
damn.
I, so I actually, because I'm petty, and I am, dude, I'm petty. I actually DM'd the promotion. I won't say who the promotion is because we're recording. I'll tell you when we're not recording. But I DM'd the
Okay.
promotion. I was just like, "Hey, fuckers!" I was like, "This shit is a promotion. Like, you guys need to stop being little bitches." Like, I was talking just like that.
Yeah, for the fighters. Damn. Yeah, why they got to
Like,
report
this is,
you?
yeah, I'm like, this is a promotion. Like, I'm not making money off this, and like, I'm not doing it while the fight's happening. Like, this fight that I did happened like 4 days ago, and I'm not even doing the entire fight. I'm just doing like a clip of it. I'm like, and they left me on red. They read it. So
Like,
yeah,
we're gonna report you again.
yeah. So yeah, but definitely. I'm glad you like that, man. Check out that fight breakdown. It is, well,
Sick.
Josh says it's good, so it must be satisfactory. So definitely be sure to check that out. More importantly, check out Josh. Make sure you're following him and follow all those people.